When it comes to AI development, there's often this huge gap between a simple idea and actual working code. So today, we're going to explore how to bridge that gap. We're talking about turning a vague, fuzzy prompt into a super precise flight plan for your AI coding agent. Let's dive in.
So let me ask you this. If you've ever worked with an AI coding agent, you've probably wondered, is it just busy or is it actually being productive? You see all this activity, right? Files are being read, the repository is getting scanned, but you're left there thinking, is this just noise or are we actually making progress? Well, that confusion, that feeling of spinning your wheels, it almost always traces back to one single thing, a vague prompt. It's this tiny little mistake that ends up causing these massive problems down the line. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how to fix it for good.
Okay, so first, let's really put a name to the problem. We call it the wandering agent problem. And it's all about how these fuzzy, unclear prompts can lead an AI to do work that's inefficient and sometimes, honestly, just plain wrong. Just look at this classic example. A developer gives a pretty simple-sounding command, review front-end interface. Seems harmless, right? But for an AI, that's a recipe for disaster. It's forced to guess, it starts wandering the entire repository, it totally misses critical dependencies, and it's just burning through expensive tokens and your valuable time with every single wrong turn. And let's be clear, this is not just a small inconvenience. This is a massive drain on your resources. We're talking about real money here. Wasted tokens, wasted compute time, you get unnecessary rework, and you have this constant risk of the AI making changes in the completely wrong part of the system. It just kills developer focus and tanks your team's productivity.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a really cool concept called the Code Ledger Flight Plan. The whole idea is to take that rough, vague intent from the user and turn it into a precise, deterministic starting point before the AI even thinks about starting its work.
Now, at the very heart of this solution is something called the Deterministic Context Bundle. And yeah, you should think of it exactly like a pilot's flight plan. It's an evidence-backed strategy created from the user's initial prompt all before a single line of code gets touched. It's all about being proactive instead of reactive.
And the process itself is unbelievably simple. A user just types their task like they normally would. Code Ledger kicks in automatically in the background, generates this evidence-backed bundle, and only then, once it has its mission, does the agent start working, completely focused and already on the right path.
So what's actually in this flight plan? Well, it's way more than just a list of files. We're talking a ranked list of the most relevant files, the reasoning for why each file was included, a map of all the key dependencies and relationships, and even important code snippets to give it that initial context. It's a genuinely intelligent starting point.
So all of this leads us to the big payoff. For engineering leaders, for managers, this approach delivers on three things that are absolutely critical. You get control, you get confidence, and you get a serious boost in speed. So here it is, the bottom line for any manager watching this. What you get is less agent drift, less guesswork, you spend way less time on rework, you're wasting fewer tokens. You see productivity jump on the very first pass. And maybe most importantly, you get AI execution that is controlled, reviewable, and predictable.
And really, this brings us full circle. The process still starts with that same simple, rough command from a developer. But now, instead of that command kicking off chaos, it generates a targeted, relevant context bundle before the agent starts working. It's the exact same starting point, but it leads to a completely different and way more productive outcome.
So, it all comes down to this one simple, powerful idea: giving every single AI coding task a flight plan before the agent starts flying. And the question I want to leave you with is this: what would it change for your team if, instead of letting your AI agent take off blind, you could give every single task its own detailed flight plan? Think about it.